Over 100 years after Our Lady of Good Success warned Mother Mariana about the fate of the Church through the infiltration of the secret sects, and exactly 200 years to the date before the miracle of the sun at Fatima, Freemasonry was born. The Protestant Reformation in Europe led to a decline of Christianity, opening the way for the formation of these sects, having been derived from the medieval stonemasons who were known for their work on the construction of cathedrals in Europe. The first Grand Lodge was opened in the UK on October 13, 1717, with governing branches eventually being spread throughout the world. The main purpose of the Freemasons was to do away with a God being to become, in essence, your own God. During that time, in order to become a Mason, one of the requirements was the belief in some form of deity. They believed in fatherhood of God, brotherhood of man, and immortality of soul. Sounds somewhat Christian, right? Well, not entirely. Their belief stemmed from a humanistic or naturalistic approach. They worshipped the God of the earth. Former members of Masonry have admitted that the God of the earth is in fact Satan. In their Masonic Bible, if you will, they speak in detail about the glory of Satan and his role in the Masonic movement. This is a secret society which still exists today. Their goal on the outside is to make you think that they are philanthropists, that we are all one, that all religions are equal. But as we know, the devil is a liar. There is only one way to heaven, and that is through Jesus Christ, through the baptism and the sacraments which the Church offers. Their main goal is to eradicate the Catholic Church and create a new order or new world in which there is a universal religion. In France in 1877, there was a schism in the order, and the Grand Orient Lodge eliminated the need to believe in God or the immortality of the soul, which then allowed atheists to join their ranks. In Mexico, the Freemasonic government led to a persecution of the Catholic Church. Thousands were martyred. They made wine illegal during those times to prevent it from being used as the blood of Christ. The use of the name Jesus is forbidden in the lodges. According to CatholicEducation.org, the history of Freemasonry has proven its anti-Catholic nature. In the United States, one of the leaders of Masonry, General Albert Pike, referred to the papacy as, quote, a deadly treacherous enemy, and wrote, the papacy has been for 1,000 years the torturer and curse of humanity, the most shameless imposture in its pretense to spiritual power of all ages, end quote. The article continues, quote, it is widely known that the French Revolution of 1789 has its link to Freemasonry. In France in 1877 and in Portugal in 1910, they took control of the government for a time and enacted laws to restrict the activities of the Church, particularly in education. In Italy, the movement in the mid-1800s to unify the country was infiltrated by Freemasons, who were intent on abolishing the papacy and restricting the rights of the Catholic Church. In Latin America, Freemasons have expressed anti-church and anti-clerical sentiment. Without doubt, one reason why Western Europe suffers from its present secularism is because of the role of Masonry since the 19th century. End quote. In the late 1800s, a secret document called the Instruction of the Alta Vendita made its way into the Vatican's hands. It was a document from the highest lodge in the Carbonari, a secret society with links to Masonry. The document gave specific details on the plot for the subversion of the Catholic Church. In it they state, quote, the Pope, whoever they may be, will never come to the secret societies. It is first for the secret societies to come first to the Church with the aim of winning them both. The work which we have undertaken is not the work of a day, nor of a month, nor of a year. It may last many years, a century perhaps, but in our ranks the soldier dies and the fight continues. End quote. The outline from the book states, quote, In time, the mindset would be so pervasive, the priests would be ordained, bishops would be consecrated, cardinals would be nominated, whose thinking was in step with the modern thought rooted in the French Revolution's Declaration of the Rights of Man and other principles of 1789. Eventually, a pope would be elected from these ranks who would lead the church on a road of enlightenment and renewal. They stated that it was not their aim to place a Mason on the chair of Peter. Their goal was to produce an environment that would eventually produce a pope and a hierarchy won over to the ideas of liberal Catholicism, all the while believing themselves to be faithful Catholics. They continued, quote, "You want to revolutionize Italy? Look for the Pope whose portrait we have just drawn. You wish to establish the reign of the chosen ones on the throne of the prostitute of Babylon? Let the clergy march under your standard, always believing that they are marching under the banner of the apostolic keys." End quote. In their 1868 declaration at the International Congress in Geneva, they state, quote, "Down then with God and with Christ, down with the despots of heaven and earth, death to the priests, such is the motto of our grand crusade." End quote. In November 1917, a month after the final apparition of Fatima, Masonry declared war on the Catholic Church. Saint Maximilian Kolbe described these accounts to a magazine called Japanese Militia of the Immaculate in 1935. Quotes, "The Masonic clique, disapproved on several occasions by the sovereign pontiffs governing Rome, the capital of Christianity, with ever greater impudence. It did not even hesitate to brandish in the streets of the city during the festivities in honor of Giordano Bruno a black flag showing the Archangel Saint Michael beneath the feet of Lucifer. Still less did they hesitate to brandish Masonic insignia beneath the windows of the Vatican. A reckless hand felt no repugnance in writing, 'Satan will rule in the Vatican, and the Pope will serve him in the uniform of a Swiss god,' and other things of that kind. This mortal hatred for the Church of Jesus Christ and for his vicar was not just a prank on the part of deranged individuals, but a systematic action proceeding from the principle of Masonry. Destroy all religion, whatever it may be, especially the Catholic religion." End quote. In his decree, In Eminenti in 1738, Pope Clement XII declared that Catholics were forbidden to join Freemasonry, and up until 1983, anyone found to be part of Masonry will be excommunicated from the Church. It states, "Wherefore we command most strictly and in virtue of holy obedience all the faithful of whatever state, grade, condition, order, dignity, or preeminence, whether clerical or lay, secular or regular, even those who are entitled to specific and individual mention, that none, under any pretext or for any reason, shall dare or presume to enter, propagate, or support these aforesaid societies of Liberi Muratari, or Franks Masons, or however else they are called, or to receive them in their houses or dwellings, or to hide them, be enrolled among them, join to them, be present with them, give power or permission for them to meet elsewhere, to help them in any way, to give them in any way advice, encouragement, or support, either openly or in secret, directly or indirectly, on their own or through others." End quote. In his encyclical Humanum Genus, Pope Leo XIII in 1884 spoke of Masonry in length. Condemning the society, he said, quote, "No longer making any secret of their purpose, they are now boldly rising up against God himself. They are planning the destruction of the Holy Church publicly and openly, and this with the set purpose of utterly despoiling the nations of Christendom, if it were possible, of the blessings obtained for us through Jesus Christ our Savior. Tear off the mask from Masonry and make plain to all what it really is." End quote. He then calls for the publishing of the documents of the Alta Vendita so that all Catholics may be made aware of the plans in hopes to subvert the matter from taking place. Now, what do they believe? They believe in the equal distribution of property. Man is God. You are one with nature and the earth. There are no consequences for your actions and no afterlife. To build man's, quote, utopia, they must build a false fraternity, erasing from society a supernatural God and replace him with a humanistic kingdom of man. It sounds like what the world leaders are currently calling the Great Reset. For those of you who do not know, every year leaders from many nations meet at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. They have created a new order for man and expect to achieve this goal by 2030. I'm sorry, but this is not a conspiracy theory, as they have openly spoken about their agenda. Apparently, according to them, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Most governments at that time, as we know, were run by Masons. There is substantial evidence that a great portion of the founders of the UN in the 40s were indeed Masons themselves. In his book, COVID-19 and the Great Reset, the founder of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, gave explicit details on how they plan to create this new utopia. In partnership with the UN, and their Agenda 21 and Agenda 30, or Sustainable Development as it's called to the public, their goal is to wipe out a great part of humanity, to create a cleaner environment by eradicating the pollution of the suburbs and creating a new world with like-minded individuals. Their words. Private property and consumer goods will be obsolete. You will have to rent and borrow from the government. Supplies will be rationed out based on a credit system. No private purchase of goods. Everything you do will be tracked and production will be based on the environment. There will be sustainable agriculture where they will distribute your food to you and meats will be a thing of the past. Natural resources will be brought down to a bare minimum. They want to cripple economies, and especially the US economy, so that we are no longer the superpower. Do away with the middle class and small businesses. Make us dependent on oil and gas from other countries so that the price of gas will skyrocket, making it so that you will not want to drive your cars, creating what they call cleaner air. You will have to release equity to the government in order to receive any subsidy from them. Again, I urge you to check out the 2,000-page document for yourself. Trust me, it is all there in black and white. This is exactly what Our Lady has been warning us about. Now you'll continue to see the connections and everything will begin to make sense as we dive into other areas of this video. Please continue this journey with me.